Hi everyone, today we are going to discuss the pilot paper. This is a pre-revision for your prior to your examination, then you can get an understanding how to answer the answer to your exam paper and get an understanding about the paper structure. Prior to start the pilot paper, I will summarize the paper structure under advanced management accounting. There are three sections, okay. There are three sections in your paper. Section 1, it contains 10 MCQs, each will give 2 marks, Then you can earn 20 marks out of the 10 MCQs, okay, 20 marks you can earn in section 1, okay. In section 2, there are 4 questions which gives 10 marks each, then you can earn 40 marks, and section 3, it will give section 3, there are 2 questions, each will give 20 marks. Therefore, advanced management accounting, the paper structure is different with compared to the previous business level paper structure. Now there are 10 MCQs. That's how total 100 marks arrive. 100 marks. Okay. Therefore, we have to properly plan our paper. We have to properly answer, and we have to get an understanding about what we are going to do. There are 10 MCQs and there are 4 questions which gives 10 marks, and there are third section which gives 20 marks each. Okay. These are the 3 sections which we need to complete in advanced management accounting. Okay. Now today we are going to discuss advanced management accounting pilot paper, CL3 pilot paper. First we are going to attempt in section 1 10 MCQs. Okay, 10 MCQs. We will move to the first MCQ, section 1. It says this section has 10 questions carrying 2 marks each. All questions are compulsory. Okay, since answers are given, you can't skip them. Total marks for section 1 is 20 marks. Okay, first we will read question number 1. Okay, we will read question number 1. There are 10 MCQs. Question number 1 says about environmental accounting. In environmental accounting, environmental management accounting has several implications in the planning and decision making for the organization. Which of the following implications are true? Okay. Number 1, pricing should include the environmental cost implicit in production or provision of service. Okay. Yes, when we are going to do some pricing, when we are going to do our pricing, we have to consider environmental impact. Any cost might arising from the environmental impact should be considered. Therefore, number 1 is correct. If incremental budgeting is followed, it should be changed to zero-based budgeting when implementing EMA, environmental management accounting. That is totally wrong. Therefore, incremental budgeting should be abandoned, should not follow, and it has not said about we need to follow zero-based budgeting. That is totally wrong. That is not related to environmental management accounting. Therefore, answer number 2 is wrong. Third one, environmental implications should be incorporated into investment appraisals. Yes, when we are assessing investment appraisal as an end of the project life cycle, project period, the project asset sometime we have to dismantle the asset. Okay, decommissioning of the asset. The cost should be considered when assessing investment appraisal. Therefore, answer number 1 and 3 is correct. Which one is the correct one? Correct one is answer C. Answer C is the correct answer for the first question, first MCQ. Therefore, in the first MCQ, the correct answer is C. Correct answer is C. Okay. Now we will move to question number 2. The new CEO of DFK Limited is keen on practicing environmental management accounting EMA. Which of the following management accounting techniques do you recommend to the accounting of environmental cost of DFK Limited? Okay. There are a lot of basis methods are available to account the environmental accounting. We will look at one by one. Activity based costing. Yes. Activity based costing can be used to account environmental impact of the organization operation. Yes. Number 1 is correct. Life cycle costing. That is also correct. Life cycle costing also. Cost incurred over the life cycle of a product you should consider when assessing the performance, and you can account for the environmental impact by using life cycle costing principle as well. Flow cost accounting, yes, that is also correct. Input output analysis, if we take input after processing, whether entire output equal to input, sometimes there might be wastage, you have to eliminate such waste. Therefore, input output analysis also part of environmental accounting. Therefore, all 4 are correct. All 4 are correct. That means your answer should be D. Question number 2, your answer should be D. Answer should be D. Okay. Now, we have already answered 2 questions. Third one. Identify which pricing strategy is likely to set a higher price. Okay, we are going to set a higher price. Okay, a price skimming strategy to exploit price elasticity. Price elasticity means if the product price elasticity is high, okay, in price skimming strategy means we are setting a higher price. Okay, if we set a higher price, what will happen? There is a negative relationship between price and quantity. If we have an inelastic demand, it is suitable to increase the price. It is suitable to set the price at higher level. The reason is the percentage change in price is greater than percentage change in quantity. Automatically your total profit or revenue will go up. Therefore, a price skimming strategy to exploit price elasticity. You can't exploit price elasticity. If it is inelastic, then it is suitable. B, a price skimming strategy to exploit price inelasticity. That is correct. That means if I draw the elasticity of demand, okay, if you look at the elasticity of demand, third one, I will explain. This is P, this is Q. If demand is relatively inelastic, we will take like this, this is demand. Change in price, okay, we have increased P1 to P2. Change in price is greater than change in quantity. Okay. Significant change in price and small change in quantity, relatively small change. Then it is suitable to set market skimming pricing strategy to set the price at high level. Then you can increase your total revenue. Therefore, question 3, the relevant answer, a price skimming strategy to exploit price inelasticity. When demand is elastic, it is suitable to use penetration pricing strategy. That means you are setting a lower price to capture customers who are more sensitive to price changes. Therefore, market penetration is suitable to set lower price, not high price. Set a lower price to capture the customers who are in more sensitive to change in price. Therefore, answer for question number 3 should be B. Okay, it should be B. Question number 3, the answer should be B. Answer should be B. A price skimming strategy to exploit price inelasticity. That is the correct answer. Then you have an idea about there are two pricing strategy, market skimming and market penetration. Market skimming means you are setting a higher price to capture high end earners or the product which has a lower elasticity, that means product which has inelastic demand. Okay. Now we will move to question number 4. Question number 4. Brief description of the nature of 5 companies are provided below. Identify which company or companies mostly benefit from adopting life cycle costing. Okay, life cycle costing should adopt for the companies who has the product has a short life cycle, and other one, the company incurs a high research and development cost. Sometime company operate in highly competitive environment. Therefore, life cycle costing should cover from the design and development phase to decline phase, total life cycle. If you are incurring a higher research and development cost, that should be counted since product has short life cycle. Therefore, we will see which company or companies should adopt life cycle costing. Company P. The company makes products which typically have a long life. Assume if the product has a longer life, you should not apply life cycle costing. Okay. As an example, I will take, you might be familiar with Sunlight soap. If you want to purchase a washing soap, you will ask always from the brand name Sunlight. Do it has a shorter life cycle? No, it had and has a longer life cycle. Therefore, life cycle costing should not apply for that kind of product. But there are some product life cycle costing apply. New version of mobile phone, it won't last for 5-10 years time. Generally, it is 6 months time new version will come. Then current version become the old version. Therefore, more demand will create from the new version. Therefore, that kind of product which has a shorter life cycle only apply. Okay, P, then we should not apply it. The company makes product with short product life cycle. Yes, company Q should apply life cycle costing because it has a short life cycle. Company R. Company's investment in plant and machinery is quite low. It does not mention that sometime you might hire them. Okay. Therefore, it is not relevant. You should apply life cycle costing. Okay. Therefore, R you can't consider. S. Companies incurs high research and development cost. Yes, if you incur a high research and development cost when calculating cost, it should be considered as a part of unit cost. Therefore, life cycle costing is suitable. If it is insignificant amount, you can ignore, then life cycle costing should not apply for that. Therefore, company S should apply it. Therefore, Q and S. Company T. Company has high advertising cost. Even though it is advertising cost is high, it does not indicate the product has a short life cycle. If you look at about milk powder, they are giving spending more money on advertising. Spending much on advertising does not mean that it has a short product life cycle. Therefore, it is not relevant. Companies should not apply life cycle costing. The relevant answer should be answer C, Q and S. Q and S. Okay. Q and S should be selected. Question number 4, answer is C. Question number 4, answer is C. Okay, we will move to question number 5. Remember, while you are reading first 4 questions, still they are relating to cost management. That means majority of MCQ question might relate to cost management section, because cost management section covers 20 marks on your complete syllabus. Therefore, if you look at about first 5 questions, even fifth one also related to cost management. Okay, we'll read question number 5. Sun X Limited is planning to introduce a smart bulb, and the company expects the product to have life cycle of 3 years. The following volumes and cost have been estimated. Okay, units manufactured, R&D cost, production cost per unit, okay, warranty cost and dismantling cost is being given. Determine the life cycle production cost of a smart bulb to nearest rupee. Therefore, when you are going to calculate life cycle cost, okay, I will put a working. Question number 5. Question number 5. First, you have to take life cycle cost. Okay, there is a cost of R&D. R&D cost 10 million. 10 million. R&D cost 10 million. Production cost. Production cost. Production cost. There are 4 years, but product only lasts for 3 years. You have to calculate year 1, year 2 and year 3 production cost. Year 1, you will produce 30,000 units. Okay, 30,000 units into 50, it is 1.5 million. 30,000 units each at 50, 1.5 million in year 1. Year 2, you will manufacture 80,000 units, each 45, it is 3.6 million. Year 2, 80,000 units, each at 45, 3.6 million. Year 3, you manufactured 40,000 units, 40,000 units, each at 40, 1.6 million. 1.6 million. Those are the production cost over the period. Warranty cost given, warranty cost, warranty cost. First year 1 million, second year 1.5 million, third year 1 million, fourth year 0.5 million. Altogether 4 million you have to spend on warranty cost, 4 million. And dismantling cost, dismantling. Therefore, from the design phase to removal or decline phase, all the cost you have to consider 2 million. Therefore, total cost incurred, life cycle cost, cycle cost. If you take the total life cycle cost become 10 million plus 1.5 million plus 3.6 plus 1.6 plus 6 million, total 22.7 million. 7 million. Output over life cycle. 30,000 plus 80,000 plus 40,000, altogether 150,000. 150,000. Therefore, cost per unit. Cost per unit. Total life cycle cost should be divided by total output over the life cycle. Then you will get the answer. The answer should be 151. To the nearest rupee you have to round it off. 151.33 mean it is 151 rupees. 151 rupees is the life cycle cost per unit. Question 5, answer should be A. 151 rupees per unit. 151 rupees per unit. That is the life cycle cost per unit. Therefore, when we are going to calculate life cycle cost per unit, what we are going to do, total cost incurred over the life cycle from the design phase to decline phase divided by output over the life cycle. Then you can determine cost per unit, life cycle cost per unit. The answer should be 151. That means answer is A. That is question number 5. Then we will move to question number 6. That is relating to learning curve theory. Question number 6. Question number 6 it has given total cost of producing first unit of output instead of total time taken by first unit, but it says that labor cost has not changed, labor rate has not changed. What it has to do? The company makes the product, question number 6, the company makes the product of DF20 and 300 units have been manufactured to date. Up to date they have manufactured 300 units. The company plans to make 50 units during the next month. Currently you have already produced 300 units. Then next month you are going to produce another 50 units. Then after producing another 50 units, total output will be 350 you have already produced. The direct labor cost of the very first unit manufactured was 450. Estimate the total direct labor cost to the nearest rupee for the next month if the company is in 80% learning curve. Okay. When we are going to apply learning curve theory, the learning curve formula, question number 6 we are in. Learning curve formula you can use yx equal ax power b. Okay. Now already you have produced 300 units. Now you have to find out the learning effect for 300 to 350 additional 50 units. What I am going to do, first I will look at for first 350 unit, for labor cost for 350 units, I need to calculate. I will find Y350. This is average time I am going to find. Instead of time taken by first unit, I will take cost incurred by first unit 450 into X is the number of output we have produced. We are going to produce. Already we have produced 300 to 350 because you can't use 50 here because already learning effect applied for first 300 unit. When it comes to 350 unit, the time taken by 350th unit will be lower than the time taken by first unit due to the learning effect. 450, X is 350. B. What is the meaning of B? B you can calculate log learning rate, that is 0.8, will take 80%, divide by log 2. You have already known it. Okay, log 2. Now shall we calculate average time taken or average labor cost if we produce 350? This is average cost. Okay, remember average cost. Average cost. Okay, average cost. Average cost will be 68.267. Okay, 68.267. Therefore, total cost you have to multiply it 68.267. This is the average cost. In order to get the total cost, you have to multiply it by 350. Total cost. Total cost equal 68.267 into 350. I will take 23,893 to the nearest rupee. 893. 23,893. Okay. Now this is for 350 unit. How can I find out total cost incurred from 301 to 350 units? For 50 unit you are going to produce in next month. This is the total cost if we produce 350. If you deduct cost incurred up to 300 unit, then you will receive the cost, additional cost incurred from 301 to 350. Then we will find total cost for 300 units. For 300 units. For 300 units. Why 300 equal time taken by first unit or cost taken by first unit 450, output is 300, log learning rate log 0.8, 80% divided by log 2. You will get an answer average cost will be 71.74 average cost. Average cost. We will take total cost. Total cost 71.74 into 300. $21,522. Okay, if you produce 300 unit, cost will be 21,522. If you produce 350, cost will be 23,893. Then, if you produce 301 to 350 unit, the additional cost is the difference between 23,893 and 21,522. If you take the difference, 23,893 minus 21,522, 2,371. Cost for 50 units, for 50 units will be 2,371. The given answer 2,371 is not there, 2,370 is there. We will take 2,370, that is answer A. The relevant answer is A for question number 6 as well. You have to calculate learning effect for 350 and 300 unit. The difference of the cost is the time taken by additional 50 units you are going to produce in next period. That is question number 6. Okay, answer is A. Then we will move to the next one. Okay, this illustration related to standard costing and variance analysis. If you read this illustration, if you have done this illustration, you might see there won't be any answer. You can't find it the correct answer. Your answer may be different from the given all 4 answers. Now we will see what should be the correct answer. Okay, this is question number 7. This is relating to planning and operating variances. We will read and summarize the given information. The information need to be summarized. Question number 7. It says the standard raw material cost of a unit set at 1,500, 5 kilograms at 300 per kilogram. Okay, that is the standard cost. Okay, standard. Standard says direct material 5 kilograms required, price will be 300 each, then 5 kilogram into 300, 1,500. Okay. at the 1500 at the beginning of the month. Due to exchange rate depreciation, average price per kilogram has been increased to 400. Okay, thus the company considers revising the standard cost. Okay, now due to the depreciation of currency, you have realized that the price you have determined at the inception, beginning of the month is not realizable or not realistic. The price will be, purchasing price will be 400, then revised price. They have not mentioned anything about change in direct material utilization. Then if they have not changed it, that means they have only changed the price. Quantity remain same, 5 kilogram. They have not mentioned anything about it. Within the month, company has manufactured 900 units consuming 4,680 kilograms at a cost of 1,825,000. That is actual. Okay, actual information will take, in actual information, in order to produce 900 units, you have spent 4,680 kilograms. Take how many kilograms of material you have actually consumed. 4,680 divided by 900, it will be 5.2 kilograms. 5.2 kilograms. Okay, 5.2 kilograms. When it comes to 5.2 kilograms, actual price is how much? You have purchased 4,680 kilograms of material at a price of, at a cost of 1,825,200. Divide by 4,680, actual purchase price is 390. Okay. This is the summary. Now this is the information, original standard, then based on the current situation you have revised, this is the actual situation. Now we will see what they are asking in this illustration in question number 7. They asked to do total material planning variance, operating price variance and operating usage variance. Okay. I will start with number 1. Total material planning variance. Planning. Total material planning variance. What it means? Planning variance are we considered as uncontrollable and uncontrollable variances. Therefore, originally we have budgeted, if we are going to produce a unit or unit of output, we have to incur cost of 5 kilogram into 3,500 rupees per unit. Due to exchange rate depreciation, can we control exchange rate depreciation? No, we can't. That is beyond the control of management. Due to depreciation of currency, you expect that purchase price will increase up to 400. That means 5 kilogram into 400, the price will go up to 2,000. Okay. Therefore, cost per unit will change 1,500 to 2,000. Then you have to look at, company has produced 900 units during the period. Due to cost variances, what is the planning cost, total cost variances, you have to compare standard cost of actual production against the revised cost of actual production, revised material cost of actual production, then you can get the total material planning variance. In planning variance, you will compare standard versus revised. Okay, planning. In planning variance. Operating variance, you will compare revised versus actual, that is called operating, which can be controllable. Operating. Okay. There is a total material planning variance. I will write it down. Standard material cost of actual production minus revised material cost material cost, revised material cost for actual production, revised material cost for actual production. Okay. We'll take standard material cost of actual production. We have produced 900 units. According to the original standard, it requires 5 kg of material. Standard price originally budgeted 300 each. Okay. This is the standard cost. 1,350,000 we have budgeted minus. Due to depreciation of currency, we have revised our standard. Therefore, you have to calculate revised material cost of actual production. We have produced 900 units, each required 5 kg, but the price is 400 each. Okay. The value should be 1,800,000. 1,800,000. 800,000. Therefore, your original standard material cost is lower than revised cost. The difference we call 450,000. It is an adverse variance. It is an adverse variance. 450,000, it is an adverse variance. Okay. 450,000, it is an adverse variance. Now, second part, it asks about operating price variance. Operating price variance means when you are going to calculate operating price variance, you will compare revised price versus actual price. If it asks about planning price variance, you will compare original or standard price against revised price. If it is operating price variance, you will compare revised price versus actual price. Okay. Next one we are going to discuss operating price variance. Operating price variance. Price variance. You will take standard price minus, we are going to do the operating price variance. You will take revised price minus actual price. The difference into number of quantity you have purchased, quantity purchased, since there are no stocks. Quantity purchased. Your revised price 400, actual price 390, quantity purchase 4,680. You will receive an answer here 10 rupee favorable with compared to the revised price versus actual. 10 rupee favorable, 10 into 4,680, 46,800 favorable. 46,800 favorable. Okay. The next one, it lasts operating usage variance. I will use this side. Okay, operating usage variance. In the operating usage variance, you will compare revised usage versus actual usage. Definitely, it will be an adverse variance. Why I am telling that? Your revised usage, it has not changed with original standard 5 kg, actual 5.2 kilograms. Therefore, it has not changed. It has changed in adverse way. It has been used more than required. Okay, we will calculate operating usage variance. Operating material operating usage. Operating usage. Usage variance. In operating usage variance, I will compare revised use of actual production minus actual usage into, then don't use, since we are taking operating efficiency variance, your operating usage variance, you can't use revised price or actual price, you have to use standard price. Okay, always use standard price. Standard price. Standard price. Okay, revised usage 5 kilogram at each for 9,000, 4,500. Actual 5.2 into 900 mean 4,680, you have already find it out, 80. Standard rate is 300. Then you will receive an answer 54,000, it is an adverse variance. $54,000 adverse variance. Remember, this answer is not appearing in the given 4 answers. Okay. This should be the correct answer. Therefore, there is no answer for question number 7. If you look at all 4 answers, total material planning when 450 adverse, it's there in answer B and C. Operating price variance 46,800 favorable, that's there in answer C. And not 72,000 adverse, it should be 54,000 adverse. You should not use 400, you have to use the standard price of 300. Answer C should be the correct one, but the only change should be done for the operating usage variance, that is wrong in the amount it has presented is wrong in answer C. Therefore, you have to change operating usage variance as to 54,000. That is question number 7. Okay, there is no answer for that correct answer. Now, we are moving to question number 8. It has given linear programming graph, LP graph. Now you have to find out, we will see what they asked to do. Question number 8. A company manufactures 2 products X and Y and it earns a contribution of 200 and 300 per unit respectively. The following graphs shows the different limitation faced by the company when it attempts to maximize the contribution. Objective function of the company is derived as 0.2x plus 0.3y equal to 3000, that is there in rupees 1000 as I think, yes, rupees 1000 it's there. Okay. Now, the graph is given, what they asked to do, the optimal combination of X and Y that the company should manufacture are, you have to find out the optimal solution. When we are going to find out the optimal solution, you can apply corner point rule and based on that you can determine optimal production mix. It has highlighted or colored in the feasible area. Corner points of feasible area are the optimal points. Out of that you have to select the best one which maximize the overall contribution or profit. Now, for our purpose, we will take, there are 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 corner points are there. I will take those 4 corner points. First I will take from the y axis. Y equal 3000 is, I will take A, then B, C and D. D is the axis where it crosses x. Okay. Corner point, there are 4 corner points. We'll take 4 corner points. For your understanding purpose, I will take A, B, C, D. Then take number of unit of x, number of unit of y. Then we'll take the total contribution from x, y and total. Point A. Now we are looking at the corner points in feasible area. Point A, this one we need to select, this point. It is y 13,000 x 0. Okay. At point A, y 13,000 x 0. Contribution, the equation given 0.2x plus, okay, I will take 0.2x plus 0.3y equal to the total contribution. Okay. 0.2x, it is 0 plus 0.3 into 13,000, 3,900. At point A, total contribution 3,900. Okay. Now we will look at point B. There are 2 equation crossover, that is y equal 13,000 and 0.04x plus 0.012y, 0.012y equal to 2,400. Okay. Now I will use parallel equation. Okay. Equation 1, y equal 13,000. I will take this as number 1 equation. Second equation, it says 0.04x plus 0.12y equal 2,400. I will take this as equation number 2. Okay, I will substitute y equal 13,000 to here, then you can find out x is how many unit. Okay. Therefore, substitute y equal 13,000 to equation 1. Then you will receive 0.04x plus 13,000 into 0.12y. 0.12y mean 13,000. Therefore, 13,000 into 0.12, it should be 1,560 equal to 1,400. Okay. By using your calculator, you can work it out as well. Then 0.04x equal 840, x equal 840 divided by 0.04, 21,000. Okay. At point B, at point B, your product makes x 21,000, okay, x 21,000, y 13,000. Then if I take the contribution 21,000 into 0.2, 4,200 plus 13,000 into 0.3, 3,900. Total 8,100. Okay. Next one, point C, there are 2 equation, 2 lines crossover, 0.06 plus 0.08y equal to 2,400 and 0.04x to 0.12y equal to 2,400. That is point C. Okay, we will work out that as well. Using your calculator, you can easily work out product mix when 2 constraints are available or 3 constraints are available. Okay, I'll take 0.04x plus 0.12y equal to 2400. This is as number 1. 0.06 x plus 0.08y 2400. This is as number 2. We'll take optimal product mix x and y. X and y. By using your calculator, you can calculate equation 2 unknowns a1 0.04, b1 0.12, c1 2400, a2 0.06, b2 0.08, c2 2400, x 24,000, y 12,000. Okay, x 24,000, y 12,000. Total contribution 24,000 into 0.2, 4,800 plus 12,000 into 0.3, 3,600. Total 8,400 is the total contribution. Final corner point, point D, y0 x 40,000, x 40,000. Then 40,000 into 0.2, it should be 8,000 plus nil. Total contribution 8,000. Now looking at these 4 corner points, which one will maximize your total contribution? The point where which generate 8,400 as a contribution is the point which maximize your total contribution. The point C, that means x 24,000, y 12,000. The given, based on the given answer, your answer should be B. Your answer should be B. 24,000 units of x and 12,000 units of y. That is for the answer for question number 8. This kind of question might take some time rather than the illustration you have done at the inception. As an example, question number 1, you need not to spend even 1 minute. It might take 30 seconds, but you have to save some time to attempt this kind of illustration, this kind of questions. Okay. Therefore, answer should be B, 24,000 units of x and 12,000 units of y. Okay. Now we are moving to question number 9. The objective of reducing staff turnover is most likely to appear in the perspective of balance scorecard. There's a blank. You have to fill the blank. Which one is suitable? Reduction of staff turnover. In the which aspect? Customer? No. In customer perspective, we are trying to satisfy our customer. We are trying to reduce customer complaints. Okay, we are trying to offer which customer asks from us. Financial perspective, we are trying to maximize shareholders' wealth. We are trying to increase our total revenue. That is the financial aspect. Learning and growth, we are looking about our employees of the organization, their talents, their skills, retention, rewarding. Therefore, learning and growth relate to reducing of staff turnover is related to learning and growth. Therefore, this one, the objective of reducing staff turnover is most likely to appear in the learning and growth perspective of the balance scorecard. Answer should be C. Question 9, answer is C. Answer is C. Question number 9, answer is C. There are, in the balance scorecard, there are 4 perspectives: financial, customer, internal business process, and learning and growth. Those 4 perspectives include qualitative and quantitative aspect as well. Therefore, those 4 perspectives will help to improve organizational performance. Okay. Those 4 perspectives will align organizational vision and strategy. Therefore, we have to evaluate the organization performance by using these 4 perspectives, but in the question number 9, the answer should be C. Last MCQ, question number 10. Which of the following provides benefit of big data and predictive analysis? Benefits. We'll read. Number 1. Analytics can benefit any aspect of an organization, but some of the most significant results in customer acquisition, retention and development. That is completely correct. Through the big data analytics, you can identify what are the customer requirements, what is the expectation of them, how to retain them, how to satisfy them. Therefore, that is the one benefit of big data analytics. Number 2, high precision sales forecasting can be important for suppliers of perishable items, which can be achievable using big data. Yes, if you are running a restaurant, you can, while analyzing big data, you can identify the pattern of demand. Based on that, you can prepare your meal. Therefore, it is an advantage of big data analytics. Therefore, number 2 also correct. Number 3, using predictive analytics, the risk segmentation organization can identify patterns that lead to fraud detection. Yes, that is totally correct. 4th one, using big data, a supermarket is able to discover the pregnancy of a person even before she makes a public announcement. That is totally wrong. It is not a benefit. It is an ethical issue of handling big data. It might be an ethical issue. It is an issue of using big data or personal data. Therefore, it should not be a benefit of big data analytics. Therefore, 1, 2 and 3 correct, 4 is wrong. Therefore, answer should be 1, 2 and 3 only. Answer should be B. Answer should be B. Okay, now we have completed first section, section 1. That section 1 covers 10 MCQs. We have just covered the MCQ. 10 MCQs. Okay. Now we can move to section 2. Section 2. By using section 2, there will be 4 questions which might give 10 marks each for 4 questions. There are 4 questions there. They will give 10 marks each. Then you have to score 40 out of 40 is better. Okay, we'll see. Section 2, question number 1. Question number 1 in section, now we are in section 2. In section 2. We'll read question number 1 and we will identify what we are going to do in section 1. While Leopard is a hotel that provides eco-tourism experience to foreign tourists in Sri Lanka, the hotel provides 2 types of luxury tented chalet, standard and deluxe. The monthly operating overhead cost of the company is 1.8 million. Okay, 1.8 million is the monthly operating overhead cost. Company identifies 60% of these costs with the operation cost center and the balance with the maintenance cost center. Okay, 60% of cost being with operation cost center, balance 40% with maintenance cost center. Okay. Cost of the operation center absorbed based on expected occupancy levels of room nights. Maintenance cost center absorbed 31% of the direct cost of each chalet. Under normal circumstances, company estimates an occupancy level of 80 rooms nights for a standard chalet and 50 room nights for deluxe chalet per month. The management wishes to change the current absorption costing system to the activity based costing system for computing the cost per room night. The following information is available. Okay. They have been provided the information. Now look at, when we are going to use activity based costing, as I have explained earlier, we can allocate overhead cost based on resource or activity or cost driver consumed by each product or service. Now here we have identified 5 activities and their cost with cost drivers. Based on their utilization, you should allocate the cost to each product or service. Okay. We'll look at, the company has allocated the operating overhead cost to the activities as given below: luggage delivery, reception and billing, restaurant operation, swimming pool maintenance, handling and pickup. Those are the 5 activities and their cost drivers being given. Cost driver volumes and their consumption also. Estimated volumes of cost drivers for 2 types of chalet are given below, or they have been already provided. Direct cost per room night, standard 12,500 while a deluxe is 17,000. Okay. What they asked to do: compute total operating cost, that is direct cost plus operating overhead cost per room night of each chalet under absorption costing and ABC costing, activity based costing. 7 marks being given. Okay. Now we need to summarize the given information. There are 2 types of chalet, standard and deluxe. Okay, standard and deluxe. The absorption basis are different. The total overhead cost, okay, operating overhead 1.8 million, operating overhead 1.8 million, okay, 1.8 million. This 1.8 million, out of this 1.8 million, 60% relevant to operation center, balance 40% relevant to maintenance. Based on the given information, it's like that. And it says, when we are going to absorb this overhead cost, operation center absorb its overhead cost based on room nights per month. Okay, room nights per month. Maintenance cost center, they will absorb overhead 31% from the direct cost. Here, if absorption apply, it has not considered, it has ignored activity consumed by each product or each service, that is standard and deluxe. Okay, we will take those 2, standard and deluxe, standard room and deluxe. Direct cost per room night, direct cost per room night, direct cost per room night, standard 12,500, standard 12,500, deluxe 17,000, deluxe 17,000 is given. Now you have to absorb this overhead cost from operation center and overhead cost of maintenance center. Okay, overhead cost, overhead cost. I will take operation center, operation center, operation center. In the operation center, if you take working number 1, in operation center it says cost allocation, working number 1, overhead cost. Operation center we can allocate operations. Operation center. Out of 1.8 million, we can allocate 60%. That means 1.08 million. Okay, 1.08 million. This 1.08 million from the operation center will be allocated among the standard and deluxe based on room nights per month. It has mentioned in second para occupancy level 80 room nights for standard chalet and 50 room nights for deluxe chalet per month. Okay. Therefore, number of room nights. Number of room nights. Room nights. Number of room nights. Standard 80, deluxe 50, altogether 130 nights. Then you can calculate operation cost per room night, cost per room night, cost per room night, 1,80,000 divide by 130. Then you will get the answer of 8,308 per room night. 8,308 per room night. That is cost. Now operation cost center that we can allocate overhead cost based on room nights 8,308 each. 8,308 each. And maintenance, it says maintenance should apply 31% of direct cost of each chalet. This is the direct cost per room night. Out of this 31%, 31% is here 3,875. 3,875. Okay. Then deluxe 5,270. 31% 31% into 17,000. Take the cost per room night, cost per room night, cost per room night. You will receive 24,683 for standard, deluxe 30,578. Remember, this is based on absorption costing method. Based on absorption costing. Absorption method. Absorption method. Here we have, when we are allocating this overhead, we have not considered the activity or resource consumed by each room, standard and deluxe. We just allocate the overhead based on 31% from the direct cost, and this is based on room night. Okay, that is absorption costing. Now you have to look at how we are going to work out from ABC. Second part, it asks to use ABC. Okay. ABC system, it has already calculated. You can refer the answer as well. Okay, before that, yes, maintenance cost center 8,308 each, and okay, maintenance cost at 31%. In the answer, if you refer the suggested solution, it says 39%. It is totally wrong. It should not be taken because it says 31% in the pilot paper. You can refer in the pilot paper. It says that you should use 31% of the direct cost of each chalet. since it is saying that 31% of each challenge, you can't multiply it in 39%. In the suggested solution, it has taken 39%. Okay. Based on pilot paper, we have to move, it should be 31%. These are the cost per room night. Okay. Now we will move to activity based costing approach, how we are going to allocate these cost among the standard and deluxe, because direct cost is same. Now we have to prepare a schedule. If we apply activity based costing, we will allocate the cost based on activity consumed by each product or service. Okay, here there are two types of services, standard room service and deluxe room service. Therefore, we have to allocate the cost based on resource or activity volume or cost driver consumed by each product or service. Each product or service. I will take first activity. There are standard and deluxe. Standard, I will take activity, cost driver, cost driver volume, then standard and deluxe. Standard, how much to standard and deluxe? Deluxe. Okay. First activity, luggage delivery. Luggage delivery. Cost is 50,000. Cost driver says number of deliveries, standard 120, deluxe 70. Therefore, altogether 190. 190 deliveries will result 50,000 cost. Okay. Therefore, per delivery you have to calculate 50,000 divided by 190. 50,000 divided by 190. Then out of 190, 120 is used by standard. Therefore, I will take 31,579 for standard. Then balance goes to deluxe, 31,579, 18,421. That is the luggage delivery activity. Reception and billing. Second activity, reception and billing. Reception and billing. In reception and billing, total cost 350,000. 350,000. Number of bills, 84 standard, 54 deluxe. Therefore, total occupancy level 80 and 50. No. Occupancy rate for standard and deluxe. Therefore, 130. 130. Therefore, 350 divided by 130. Out of that 80 is how much? 215,000. 215,385. Therefore, 134,615 goes to deluxe. That is for 50 room nights. Then restaurant operation. Third, restaurant operations. Restaurant operations. Restaurant operation, total cost 800,000. Okay, 800,000. Operation. Cost driver given, number of kitchen order tickets. Number of kitchen order tickets 75 and 45 altogether 110, 120. 120 orders. 120 orders. Out of that 75 goes to standard 500,000 and 300,000 goes to deluxe. Deluxe. Then swimming pool maintenance. Okay. Fourth one, swimming pool maintenance. Pool maintenance. Swimming pool maintenance costs 460,000. 460,000. Cost driver say number of guests. Standard 160, deluxe 110, total 270. 270 guests. Therefore, into 160, we have to allocate 272,593 here. 187,407 for deluxe. That is for swimming pool maintenance. Finally, handling and pickup and drop off. Handling and pickup. Pickup. Total cost 140,000. Cost driver number of pickups and drop offs 120 plus 75, 195. You should allocate 86,154 for standard, deluxe 53,846. 846. Now take the total allocated overhead cost. Allocated overhead cost. Then if you divide by room night, then you can get the overhead cost per room night, total cost. Total cost. Total here standard 1,105,711. $694,289 for deluxe. Therefore, overhead cost per room night, deluxe there are 80 room nights, sorry, standard, deluxe it is 50 room nights. 1,105,711 divided by 80, then you can get the answer. The answer should be 13,821. 13,821. Okay. Deluxe, it should be 13,886. 13,886. Now add direct cost per room night. Direct cost 12,500 and 17,000. Now you can get the cost per room night according to ABC. Cost per room night. Cost per room night 26,321, 30,886. This is based on activity based costing approach based on ABC method. We have calculated cost per room night you will allocate more cost if you consume more resources. Okay, you will allocate less overhead cost if you consume less activity volume. That is the fundamental of activity based costing. That is answer for part A. Part B says, discuss the benefit of applying time driven ABC method instead of traditional ABC method by Weil Leopard company. Okay, in time based activity based costing system, it will resolve more problem. Mainly in traditional activity based system, considerable cost and time. The main is time saving. In time based activity based costing, you will look at, if you operate an hour, this activity, assume luggage delivery, how long it will take in total operational time, how many hours, how many man hours will consume by that particular activity. Based on that, you can allocate the cost. Time driven ABC is simplified approach for operating ABC in a large organization where employees are surveyed to estimate the percentage of time they expect to spend on activities and expenses that are assigned to the activities based on average percentage derived from the survey. Okay, that means each activity, luggage delivery, billing and reception, you will allocate, you will expect, how long you will expect, if you process 80 number of bills, what is the required time. Based on time allocation, you will allocate the cost relevant to each activity and calculate activity cost per given minute. That is the main benefit. Accordingly, the Weil Leopard company should consider time driven ABC instead of traditional ABC to reduce the time and cost of implementation. Again, if you want to operate an hour, what would be the total cost of each activity? If you are operating an hour in the hotel, what are the activities which contribute to run the hotel and what are the cost for that particular hour and how it will be allocated to each activity. That is called time driven ABC. That is the answer for question number 1. It is related to activity based costing. Okay. Question number 2. Okay. Question number 2, this is relating to transfer pricing. 10 marks being given. We need to understand this transfer pricing equation is very easy to work out, and we have to understand basic concepts in transfer pricing. Okay. First, prior to describe the background, first we will read the illustration. Question number 2. Nepeth Private Limited has earned a reputation for the quality tea it produces. The company has 2 divisions, bulk division and packet division. You have to prepare a structure or a sketch. Then it is easy to understand which division is supplying division, which is the receiving division. It is easy to understand thereafter. Okay. This Nepeth Private Limited has 2 divisions. One is bulk tea division, other one is packet division. Okay. There are 2 divisions. Now we will look at which division is supplying division, which division is receiving division. Okay. Okay. At present, all the output of the bulk division is transferred to the packet division. Packet division makes 100 grams of packets from each kilo of bulk tea transferred from the bulk tea division by mixing different flavors. Okay. Bulk tea division, they will transfer bulk tea, and packet division, they will mix those they will use some flavors and they will packet into small packet and sell in the open market. Therefore, bulk tea division here, based on the given information, this bulk tea division is the supplying division. There are 2 divisions, bulk tea, bulk division and packet division. There are 2. packet. Bulk and packet. Okay. Bulk tea division provide bulk tea to packet division. Packet division packet them into 100 grams and sell. Therefore, sell internally. Bulk tea division become the supplying division. I will call supplying division. Supplying division. Okay. I will tell this is a supplying division. Packet division is the receiving division. Receiving division. Okay. This is supplying division. Supplying division mean division who sells the good. Receiving division mean division who purchase the good internally. Okay. Here what it says. Bulk division variable cost of per kilogram 650. Okay. Fixed cost per kilogram of bulk tea 10. Selling price per kilogram of bulk tea is 715 outside market. Okay. Variable cost. They need to purchase them. Variable cost is 650. Variable cost 650. They will add fixed cost per kilogram of bulk tea 10. Okay. FC 10 rupees. That means total cost 660. Okay. I will take total cost then 660. Total cost. It says selling price per kilogram of bulk tea in the outside market. They can sell this product to the outside market, external market, external market at a price of 750, at 750 each. They can sell at external market at 750. Now, bulk division has produced 9,000 kilograms in 2020, June 2020. Okay. Packet division. Okay, we will look at packet division. Packet division variable cost per 100 gram of flavored tea excluding transfer price 25. Okay. Excluding transfer price it should be 25. Fixed cost per 100 gram of flavored pack 8. Selling price per gram is 125. Okay. Here their variable cost excluding transfer price, variable cost is 25, excluding transfer price 25, and fixed cost per unit is 8, FC per unit is 8. Okay. External selling price is 125. Okay. This is the arrangement. During the period, bulk tea division has sell 9,000 kilograms to packet division. What they asked to do? Part 1. Compute the profit of Neperth Private Limited for the month of June 2020. June 2020. You need to calculate the profit of Neperth Private Limited. Okay, shall we calculate it? Remember, bulk tea division sell internally, packet division will sell externally. Sell. This division is the selling division to the external market, then company earn revenue, sell externally. Then revenue to the group will generate from packet division, because bulk division sell internally, packet division will sell externally. Okay. Now, shall we calculate revenue and variable cost and their profitability? Okay. We will will move to the suggested solution. Okay, bulk T division will sell 9,000 kilograms. If we sell 9,000 kilograms, how many units they can manufacture? They can manufacture 90,000 packets, because each at 100, 90,000 packets. Therefore, output is 90,000 units. 90,000 units into 125, that is the revenue of 11,215 rupees 1,000. Variable cost of bulk tea, each you have to purchase at 650. 650 into 5,850. 6,500 into 9,000, value will be 5,850. Okay, fixed cost of bulk tea division, 10 into 9,000, it will be 90,000, that is 90. Variable cost of packet division, 90,000 packets into 25, therefore 2,250. Fixed cost per packet 720, total 2,970. Profit of the company 2,340, that means 2,340,000. 2,340,000. Second part of the question, okay, if I elaborate, if we take divisional profitability, not profitability, if we take the total company perspective, sales will be, internal sales will not be accounted in total company column, because it is internal transfer, external sales should be counted. Now part B, it asks, recommend the minimum transfer price that should be charged by the bulk division if it operates under full capacity. Remember, if it operates under full capacity, the minimum price should be marginal cost plus opportunity cost, or variable cost plus opportunity cost. Therefore, I will take now minimum transfer price. Minimum transfer price. It should equal to variable cost plus opportunity cost. Opportunity cost. Here it says variable cost is 650. What should be the opportunity cost? If they have not transferred internally, okay, they has a capacity, they will able to sell those bulk tea in outside market at a price of how much? 750. Then you might lose a contribution of 100 rupees from the internal transfer. If you operate in full capacity, if you transfer it internally, you might lose, bulk tea division will lose 100 rupees as a contribution from the each unit they transfer to packet division. Therefore, you have to take the opportunity cost. 750 you can earn, your variable cost 650, you are foregone, the bulk tea division has foregone 100 rupees as a contribution per unit. Therefore, your minimum transfer price, if perfect market exceeds external market price, 750. This is the minimum transfer price you need to charge. Okay, it's given in the solution as well. Minimum transfer price should be 750. Okay, next one. Company pays a bonus for its divisional staff based on divisional profit calculated as 5% from the monthly profit. If the company has the following policies for the transfer price, calculate the bonus received by each division. Okay, that is very important when assessing divisional profitability. Supplying division willing to sell at higher price, that is bulk tea division. There are two divisions. I will take bulk tea, bulk and packet. First section, full cost plus 20. Okay, full cost plus 20, we'll calculate the selling price then. Bulk T division, okay, transfer price, bulk T. Variable cost 650 plus fixed cost, it's given 10 rupees. 10 rupees. Total cost 660. Total cost 660. Clear? Then cost plus markup means you have to add 20% on total cost, 20% markup. 660 into 20 means 130. You will transfer the goods at 790. 790 is the price you have, sorry, 792. 132 is the answer, 792 is the transfer price. Remember, it is greater than external market price as well, because external market price stated at how much? 750. Now we will calculate the revenue of each division. Revenue. Bulk T division will supply 9,000 units at 792 each. Value will be in rupees 1,000. Rupees 1,000. It will be 7,128. There won't be difference for the revenue of packet division. They will sell 11,250, that means 90,000 into 125. Cost. First I will take variable cost. First I will take internal transfer cost. Internal transfer. This become a revenue, this become a cost to packet division 7,128. 7,128. Then excluding internal transfer, external variable cost. Bulk T division, it is 650 into 9,000, 5,850. Packet division 25 into 9,000, 2,250. 2,250. Okay, 2,250 for external variable cost. Then fixed cost 90 and 720. Then you can easily get net profit. 1,188 for bulk T division, 1,152 for packet division. Okay, that is full cost based pricing. This is the net profit both division will earn. Then 5% bonus. 5% bonus on the given net profit 59.4 for bulk T division and 57.6 for packet division. That is based on full cost based price. Now who has get benefited? Look at about the bulk T division. They are external, even they have sell in external market, they can only earn 750, but due to 20% cost plus markup pricing, they are transferring them at 792 each. Therefore, they have a benefit, they can, bulk T division can get a higher bonus due to the higher transfer price. Okay, number 2 says, if we apply market price, okay, we will move to market price. If they have applied, what would be the bonus. Look at currently, if it is based on market price, this is 20% markup, 20% markup. If it is market price base, market price applied, that means we will apply revenue at 750. Then their revenue bonus will be 40.5, 40.5, and this becomes 76.5. Due to inappropriate pricing, bulk T division got benefited earlier. Now, if we apply market based pricing, packet division manager will get 76.5 as the transfer price. Okay. The calculation says sales revenue 750 into 9,000, 6,754 bulk T division, 11,254 packet division. Variable cost 5,854 packet division, 9,004 bulk T division, 9,004 packet division. Fixed cost 90 and 720. Operating profit 810 for bulk T division, 1,534 packet division. Bonus will get 5% bonus, bulk T division 40.5 and packet division 76.5. Okay, that is the answer for part 2 of the question. We will look at what it asks for question number, part D of transfer pricing question. Discuss how transfer pricing may lead to suboptimal decision in an organization, especially when negotiating a transfer pricing by two investment centers. Okay. What is the meaning of suboptimal decision? Suboptimal decision mean when you act on your own divisional interest, the decision you might take may not satisfy the best interest of whole organization. I will take an example, then you will realize that. This is suboptimal decision will affect to deteriorate the organizational profit. Assume we will take the same illustration. This division called bulk T. Bulk. They are selling to packet division. Okay, packet division. Packet division. Here their variable cost 650, fixed cost 10. Either they can sell external market at 750. Assume they are going to sell this bulk T, 1 kilogram of bulk T at 800 to packet division. Then packet division has an ability to purchase from external supplier at 780. What will be happen? Manager of packet division reject to purchase internally, they will go and purchase from external supplier at 780. If actually, if it is operating in full capacity, that should have been supplied at 750. If it is being supplied at 750, then you might be able to save 30 rupees without paying additionally to the external supplier. That is called suboptimal decision. Assume there is no demand for bulk T. There is no demand. Now you are asking 750. Okay. Assume you are asking external supply price of, I will take this is 780, you are asking 790. You are asking 790. If you don't have any demand, solely you are supplying to packet division, your relevant cost is marginal cost. There is no opportunity cost of supplying internally. If you produce internally, it will be 650. Now you are going to purchase from external supplier, you are paying additional 130 rupees. Okay. This decision will lead to detrimental of the profit of the overall company. This is called suboptimal decision. Therefore, suboptimal decision can be eliminated while establishing dual rate transfer pricing. While negotiating with transfer price will eliminate this issue. Okay, we look at the answer what it suggests. Transfer pricing has benefits to the organization such as providing autonomy to its divisions, enabling performance appraisal, etc. Okay, that means transfer pricing will give divisional autonomy. However, transfer pricing could also lead to suboptimal decisions. This happens when divisional managers make decisions from the divisional point of view but not the entire organization as a whole. As example, for example, when two investment centers are allowed to negotiate a transfer price, one center may decide to buy from external party when the negotiated price is higher than the price of an external buyer. However, when looking at the organizational point of view, such a purchase price from an external buyer could exceed the variable cost of manufacturing the item internally. Thus, it would create a loss to the organization. It will create a loss to the organization. That is question number 2. That is the main disadvantage of transfer pricing. Why? Main disadvantage of transfer pricing is it will encourage suboptimal decision which will dilute organizational profitability. That is the end of question number 2. Okay. Question number 2 in section 2 we have just completed, that is question number 2 related to transfer pricing. Okay. Question number 2 related to transfer pricing.